Hey, welcome to the Sports Unfolded Patriots postgame show. I am your host, Eric. My main man over there, Kenny in the middle, Ron on the end. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good.
So, we're here to discuss the New England Patriots victory over the New York Jets. 22-17 today, 1 o'clock game. We're on a little later than normal, but we felt like we wanted to discuss the Patriots since we missed last week. So, I guess first thing, gentlemen, your impressions of how New England played and ultimately getting a victory in New York.
I mean, I'm not that impressed. So, after losing to the Bears, then you just pile up all these field goals. They can't punch it in. They can't.
Yeah, Kenny, I guess we're having some difficulties with Ron. Here we go.
Yeah, I agree with Ron.
I'm not impressed.
I really was not impressed. It was a win, but I wasn't really impressed by the win.
So I say sometimes, and I guess I'm going to be the optimist here, which is absolutely never the case. But a division opponent, somebody you've beaten for the last 12 times you've played them, regardless of the victory, again, they beat a team that was playing pretty good football, had won 4 straight. So you have to take some of that and look at it and say, at least they built on the bad loss last week. It was an extremely bad loss, shouldn't have happened. But they very easily could have went into this game and laid another egg, and they didn't do that.
Did they?
Yeah, they laid an egg.
Did they what?
I don't think this was that great. I think they did lay an egg. If it wasn't for Falk, they would have lost.
But again, their defense also held New York from scoring.
Yeah.
So one of the things that didn't happen against Chicago. So the defense played better. You saw the yardage that Zach Wilson got at the end of the game was what actually ended up carrying him because they were shutting him down for 3 quarters. So defensively, some of the things that we found to be a big issue last week weren't as glaring this week. They straightened out some things.
Yeah, but it's temporarily, Eric. This is a team right now that is. They will play hard one week, and the next week they take it off, and it's like you can't do that in the NFL. You can't do it.
Yeah, again, they're a 500 team. I don't say this is the jumping ground now for them to become a 10-7 team again. I think they're a 500 team.
They need to be consistent because 1 week the defense is on, and this week the offensive line was terrible. How can you let this guy get sacked 6 times? Six times.
Two bad weeks in a row for the offensive line. They didn't look good last week either.
Yeah,
and if it was Trent Brown last week with all the penalties, then Cole Strange this week with the penalties, I just think, look, they're missing Dante Scarnecchia more than they ever have. Because this was those things that Scarnecchia did behind the scenes that made this team a competitor every year. That offensive line, no matter who you put in there, plug and play, they were successful. It's not happening. Dave Andrews,
you know what they're missing? You know what they're missing? They're missing good coaching.
It's not helping. Yeah, the coaching staff is not helping them right now. Agreed.
No.
Agreed. Let's look at some of the numbers, gentlemen. 288 total yards for the New England Patriots versus 387 for the Jets. 161 yards in the air, 336 for the Jets. 127 rushing, only 51 yards for the Jets, though. New England only averaged 3.8 yards per play. 19-17, they won the first downs. 6 of 19, though, on third downs for New England. They held the Jets 5 for 14, but they've got to improve this third down. It seems like Matt Patricia, when they get in the red zone or they get these third downs, the play calling just is it's mind-blowing to me how they can't figure out how to make plays. The one touchdown to Jacoby Myers, I like that setup, but they try to run something completely different on a fourth down play where Mac Jones is trying to scramble and throw something like a little hail over the top. And I'm like, I didn't even understand the play call. It was a 1 yard. They needed less than a yard. And it's like they're trying all these funky things. It's just weird. They were 1 for 2 on fourth down, 6 sacks allowed, Kenny. You discussed that earlier. This offensive line, some questions now.
Some?
Can they really improve it? At this point in the season, you're talking about, 8 games in now. You haven't seen any growth from this offensive line. I think they've only played 1 or 2 games where I could say they looked pretty good.
Yeah, no, and they have some tough games coming up too. And I'm fearful that they're going to get run over. Literally.
6 for 54 yards on penalties. Kenny, you talked about that as well. The penalties, still one of those discipline things. That starts with the head coach. We can question the offensive line, offensive schemes with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. But some of the discipline plays that the mistakes they're making, that's from the head coach. That's something Bill Belichick used to work on regularly. Mm-hmm. Him having to concentrate more on the offense, is it finally hurting this team?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. Those are all those small little plays those are the things that they did better than most teams.
Yeah.
New England did force 3 interceptions. Nice to see that, again, that secondary got involved. Even Bentley had an interception. Time of possession, 35-24 in favor of New England. I think that's a little bit misleading. Again, they were running the ball and killing some clock much more than the Jets anticipated. Mac Jones, 24 for 35, 194 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Also chipped in with 7 carries for 19 yards, the scrambling. Your thoughts on his play, your grade?
Well, it's obviously better than last week, but I'd have to give him a C plus maybe. I mean, look, the offensive line is just dreadful. So, like the sacks, how much is it his fault? Even though I still think he's a much better quarterback than what he's playing. And he's not immune to all of this that's going on, with the Patriots. He's just as much to blame as anybody.
So I will question this part of it. There are 2 separate offenses being run when Zappe's in versus when Mac Jones is in.
Yeah.
A lot more shotgun for Mac Jones and more Zappe behind, which that play action works better when you're under the center. I don't understand the play calling. I feel like some of Mac Jones' struggle is more about the offensive play calling than it is Mac Jones.
Right.
And not putting him in situations to help this kid. Ron, I see. I'd go B-. Look, he was running for his life. I thought he made some nice scrambles at times to get out of some of this pressure. The offensive line was not protecting him, and he stood in there and took some big shots.
Oh, I know he did.
And to me, he showed a little bit of toughness today because he very easily could have.
Toughness isn't making some bad decisions. He's still making some poor decisions. Yeah. And whether it's holding the ball too long or, just not throwing to the right guy, there are times where he throws the ball to covered receivers when he has somebody else open that he needs to be able to see this. And he's not seeing the whole field, and it's probably because of having to run for his life.
So got a gift with that pick 6 that was called back on the penalty, roughing the passer. After that, it seemed like the team took off. 19-0 run at that point. They kind of woke up saying, look, we made that mistake. We got a gift. We can't let this gift go by the wayside. How important was that penalty at that point in the game, Kenny, do you feel, for this team to get this victory?
Oh, it was huge. It was huge. It was huge. But I give Mac a D. I mean, sorry, a B.
I was going to say D. Wow. I say you never grade under anybody. B.
I give him a B because, like you said, he was running for his life, and it's not his fault. That offensive line is supposed to protect him. You know what I'm saying? He's not a running quarterback. He shouldn't be running. He should be staying in that pocket. Everybody should be blocking. So you can't blame Mac. Like Ron said, it's coaching right there. That is coaching. Your offensive line is supposed to protect you.
Yeah, I mean,
run.
Look, Kenny hit the nail on the head there. You know, it's like the coaching staff is supposed to be there to make the quarterback look good, and they're making him look bad. And it makes everybody wonder what the talent level is. And look, last year he came in and he was fantastic on a very, mediocre team. And he made them better than what they are. Yeah. And this year they just threw that playbook out the window, and they're giving him crap to use.
Well, again, we could always blame the Raiders. Just are abysmal right now. So Josh McDaniels may want to return to the New England Patriots, and if that's the case, I mean, I'd gladly take him back because I'd like to have the old Mac back versus this Mac.
Yeah, you do.
So we're all kind of in a different range, but C, B, B minus, B. So he's in that B to C range. Ramondre Stevenson, 60 carries, 71 yards, 4.4 yards per attempt. Also had 7 receptions for 72 yards. Is he now the featured back in the New England offense?
Yeah, he is. I mean, look, we all knew that was going to happen because Belichick recycles the running backs. When they are up for a contract, he's not going to use them. He's going to go somewhere else. This is what he does. We know it.
In a smart way, if you think about this, if he wants to retain Damian Harris next season, what's the one thing that people are going to look at? The numbers.
The numbers.
Yeah.
Less numbers for him, right? His dollar value may drop a little bit when New England could end up
absolutely.
So it might not be a bad move by Belichick right now. Damian Harris, 11 carries, 37 yards, 3.4. Really wasn't much of a factor, though.
No.
In the air, Jacoby Myers, 9 receptions, 60 yards in the touchdown. 2 receptions for Damian Harris, 3 for Jonnu Smith. Hunter Henry, Thornton, and Aguilar all had 1 reception. You don't see a lot of production, though. A wide receiver, again, tight end. And it's to me this different offense versus what Zappe was being able to have. They used a lot more of the play action to the tight ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm questioning more the coaching than Mac Jones's performance. And I know a lot of New England fans want to give up on Mac, but you can't forget that this kid played pretty well last season. He had his hiccups, but he played pretty well. And I feel like everybody's looking at this season and saying he stinks. And I'm saying, what about the offense they're running?
That's what I'm saying. It's the coaching. Yeah.
It's just baffling to me that New England fans.
The coaching is.
Yeah. The fact that New England fans want to give up, they're looking at Zappe. To me, Zappe didn't look very good against Chicago either. So it's not like if Zappe was that good.
Nobody did.
Right? So, again, let's talk some of the defensive players that stood out. Jabril Peppers, 5 tackles. I thought he was everywhere. He looked pretty good. Jack Jones had 5 tackles as well. Devin McCourty, 3 tackles or 2 interceptions. Jawant Bentley had the interception. Josh Uche and Lawrence Guy both had a sack. We feel a little better about what we saw from the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I guess. It was rock bottom last week with the Bears, so it had to go up.
But that's one of your key guys in Duggar.
Yep.
Right. So Adrian Phillip looked pretty good. Just continue to for that role. So Duggar comes back next week. Hopefully, again, you start to see some special play from Peppers. Peppers is, to me, a sleeper on this team because he was a very high draft pick who has underperformed. And I think now with Belichick and that coaching staff and what they're able to do with him, this kid likes to hit. He is flying around the football all the time. It's going to be interesting to see if he can stay smart. That's his only issue. He had that 15-yard personal foul penalty on the sideline, kind of led with the head. But he can make plays for this team and be a productive part of this defense going forward. Special teams. We talked about Marcus Jones last week. I really like this kid. He had a great punt return. He looked good. Nick Folk, 5 for 5, along of 52 yards. He had 16 points today. You do the math on that, which means they only scored once in the red zone. Jake Bailey, 4 punts. Ron's favorite guy, 163 yards, 40.8 yards per punt, 2 inside the 20. Any standouts to you on the special teams part of this matchup this week?
Well, it has to be the return game. I mean, when they get anything from the returners, it's a bonus. And they had, I recall one of the better plays where they had came inside the 40 to start. And, anytime you can do that, you're already in field goal range. I mean, that's a bonus. So I think that was one of the key plays in the game because I think that's part of the turnaround.
How important is Nick Folk right now to this team?
He's most important.
You're talking about a guy that, he's automatic. He's pretty much guaranteed. He goes out there anything inside the 50, and he had a 52-yarder today. But you're getting 3 points out of it.
Yep.
And that's been the strategy in New England, I think, this season. Look, let's just kick field goals and try to hold the other team. And when it works, it looks good. It works. When the other team puts up some touchdowns, that's where New England seems to have their struggles. So next week, gentlemen, they face the Indianapolis Colts in Foxborough. So they're at home. They haven't played well at home, New England.
Yeah.
What's some of the things you're looking for from the New England Patriots next week versus the Colts, who did lose today to the Commanders, Ron's other favorite team?
Look, they got to play their game, especially the defense. If the defense doesn't show up, they lose. Period.
You're playing a second-year quarterback next week, right? Because we know the situation in Indianapolis. They benched Matt Ryan for the season now.
Yeah.
Belichick should be able to throw some things at this kid to confuse him. Ron, you hit it, right? The defense has to be the catalyst for this team going forward. I'm not confident that the offense is ever going to figure it out this season. But if that defense can do what they did today, 3 turnovers, couple sacks, make it difficult to run the ball, right? Put Ellinger has to be the guy that beats you. If you make that the strategy, you've got a good shot of winning next week.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to win the turnover game. You have to win. The Patriots have to win the turnover game, or they won't win. Period.
Here's the disappointing part of losing last week. Team would have been 5-3 right now and tied for second place in this division. That bad loss last week. They cannot afford to have another one. After the Colts, right back against the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to make sure they take care of business this Sunday. If Bill Belichick, here's that coaching issue that we can all say next week. If he has this team unmotivated for this game next week, that's a glaring issue because the importance of them winning next week, knowing you face the Jets again, you can ill afford to lose next week. It's a must win. Not that this team's going to make the playoffs, but there's that slight hope.
If they don't win, they're done. They're out.
They're done. They're out.
So,
What's the rest of the schedule? So Colts, Jets.
yeah, they still got to face Buffalo twice.
Buffalo twice. Yeah.
So I mean, it's not It's not anything where you sit back and go, okay.
And Miami.
They still got another game against Miami.
Gosh.
Yeah, I think the tough part of their schedule is coming up. Let me see if I can bring that up real quick. But it's just going to be one of those things where if they lose another bad game,
they're done.
When they should clearly win this game. This is another game where, Ron, we're going to probably talk about it on Friday, and you're going to tell me, you're going to say, all they need to do is get off the plane or get on. You're right. That's what you're going to tell me. I already know. I can hear it for Friday's show.
Maybe, me
all
too.
They're going to do is come out of the locker room with their shoes tied.
Yeah. You need some pom-poms. Yeah, pom-poms. Yeah, pom-poms.
Right? And then what happens?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Said that against Chicago. So they got Indianapolis, a bye, the Jets, Minnesota, Buffalo, Arizona, Vegas, Cincinnati, Miami, Buffalo.
Oh my gosh.
That's how it ends.
Oh.
Cincinnati, Miami, and Buffalo all at the end, huh? Okay.
All 3 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, the only gift might be Vegas right now, the way they're playing. But it's on the road. We play better on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after the bye, I mean, it's Jets, Minnesota, Buffalo, Arizona. I mean, there's one game in there that you can kind of look at and say Vegas. And we know the talent Vegas has, so it's not a pushover. There's really no easy games after the bye.
No.
So, must win. Must win. Gentlemen, as we normally do to end each one of our Patriots post-game shows, we do our 3 stars of the game. Ron, you want to lead us off with your 3rd star?
Yeah, I went with Bentley. Not only with the interception, but I just think his all-around play up there. Look, they didn't have a running game, and he was a big part of that. So I went with Bentley as my number 3 star.
Kenny?
I went with Jacoby Myers. Did a pretty good job today.
Look, this kid, you know what I was thinking about? If Tom Brady had stuck around and Jacoby Myers, how much he's matured and become a really good receiver, that would have been an interesting combination.
Yes.
My 3rd star was Devin McCourty.
Ooh.
And I just thought the 2 interceptions came at the right time. He also made a couple of tackles. He had 3 tackles in the game. So, again, active, that's secondary. Again, the leader. Now the leader and active players in the NFL with the interceptions. Devin McCourty. Number 2 star. Kenny?
Old man, Devin McCourty.
Hey, there it is, baby.
Old man Devin McCourty came out there and lit him up, boy. Look at that old man. That old man still got something going on.
Yeah, it's 33 now. 32. 33, I think, interceptions. Highest of much active players. Great job by Devin McCourty. I went Ramondre Stevenson. I thought he was just such a vital part. He didn't score a touchdown, but the toughness, the way he caught the ball, he had that one nice one-handed catch. I thought he played a great game. Ron, you're number 2.
Like he was perfect. Like you couldn't ask for a better game from McCourty than what he did today.
He went D-Mac.
I mean,
D-Mac.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
And your number 1 star, Ron. Your number 1 star. Let's see if we get you. You're freezing up a little bit. Kenny, your number 1 star. We'll wait for Ron.
Nick Folk.
Nick Folk, baby. Has to be.
He was clutch today.
Nick Folk.
Nick Folk was clutch.
16 of the 22 points. Nick Folk.
Yeah, Nick Folk was clutch today. Clutch today.
Ron, you froze up there. I'm going to assume Nick Folk has to be your number 1.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I went with Nick Folk. I mean, it was clear. A Patriot all day long. Look, he's automatic. I remembered a time before he played for the Patriots, he was not this automatic.
He was horrible.
No, he wasn't.
Horrible. I am waiting for one of these 3 stars one week, Kenny. I'm going to tell you this right now. That Jake Bailey has a great game, and Ron has to put him on his top 3 because I know how he feels. He loves Jake Bailey. I'm waiting for it. It's going to happen. One game. That's all I'm asking for, Jake.
I don't think I have to worry about that, Eric. I don't think I have to worry.
One game. It's going to happen.
It's not happening.
One, Jake. Jake Bailey just won. All he needed is just one.
Just one.
Just one.
So if you
happening.
enjoy what you're watching, check us out, Sports Unfolded. We're on every Friday night, 6 p.m. We're on Rhode Island Broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You can follow us on Rhode Island Broadcasting for those shows live every Friday night. We're fan interactive. Kenny, you've joined us plenty of times. We love having our fans interact with us. It just helps the show continue to it sparks us. So continue to join us there. Follow us on all our social media platforms. Check out that ticker on the bottom. It'll give you all the information how you can follow Sports Unfolded in Rhode Island Broadcasting. And then each week, we'll do our NBA and NHL ranking show and our NFL ranking show. Kenny, be on next week, our NBA ranking show. Ron, this as well. Can't wait to see those rankings come out. Our NFL rankings will be out this Tuesday. I can guarantee New England won't be on it. That's a guarantee. But now the Jets won't be on it either. So, once again, this has been Sports Unfolded Patriots post-game show. New England Patriots victory over the New York Jets, 22-17, moving to 4-4 on the season, 500. And let's give a shout-out real quick. Bill Belichick, 325 victories at regular season, postseason, as now all-time number 2 in head coaching for victories.
Ooh.
Don Shula, 347. It's 22 away, gentlemen. It'd be nice to get that record. Take it away from the Miami Dolphins. So,
Well, he's going to have to wait till next year.
next year. Oh, it's definitely not happening this year. Even if he won out, it wouldn't happen this year. He'd still need next season.
He ain't going to win out either.
Gentlemen, thanks for joining. Fans out there, take care. Patriots fans, take care. All we ever ask for is peace in this world.